Now, dear children, continue of chapter number 13. The land area of India lies in South Asia. Dear children, you know very well that how much the area of India is there. 32.8 lakh square kilometer is the area of the India. Now, where the India lies in the South Asia. You know very well that this is the part of the Asia continent, and here the southern part where the India is lying. In the north, lofty mountain range are spread over the hundred of kilometers from west to east direction. Dear children, you know very well that the meaning of the lofty mountain, lofty, it means height, ऊंचाई, उच्चतम. तो same way, in the northern part of the lofty mountain range are spread over the hundred of kilometer. It means these whole area are, what happened there, this whole area spreading for the hundred of the kilometer from west to east direction, from west to east direction. That is why the commuting with Tibet and China is possible only through passes located at high altitude, and that's why what happened that is why the commuting, it means avan javan. It means if you have to come to India, if you have to go Tibet or China, it means whatever the transportation for any kind with Tibet and China is possible only through passes of located at the high altitude. Altitude, you know very well the altitude, it means the height. Bay of Bengal lies to the east. Where the Bay of Bengal is lies, the Bay of Bengal is lies into the which direction? In east direction. Here the Bay of Bengal is there and lies in the east. Arabian Sea to the west. Dear children, here if you have to see the map, just you have to first of all see the map. Here the Bay of Bengal is there, here Arabian Sea there, and here the Indian Ocean is there. So same way, if you have to see the Bay of Bengal, then which direction is there? East direction is there. Here Bay of Bengal. Here Arabian Sea is the west direction. Which west direction? Arabian Sea. If you have to see the Indian Ocean, then Indian Ocean have which direction? South direction is there, and this is the whole map of the India. You have to see in the location of the India in this map. So same way, dear children, what happened that they have to given that the Bay of Bengal lies in the east direction, Arabian Sea to the west, and the Indian Ocean to the south of the peninsular India, where it is in the southern part of the peninsular India. And you know very well that what was the meaning of peninsular? Peninsular, it means Dweep Kalpana. The sea is utilized as a waterway, and that's why what happened there, this part, it means this part we are using for the transportation purpose as a sea part. Here Bay of Bengal is there, here Indian Ocean is there, and here Arabian Sea is there, and that's why we are getting the much and more benefit. And you know very well that India is near about 7,800 kilometer of the waterways area. If you have to see only for the Gujarat, then Gujarat is only 1,600 kilometer area. Then lies in the east, Arabian Sea to the west, and Indian Ocean to the south of peninsular India. The sea is utilized as a waterway, and that's why we can say that this sea is utilized as a water transportation, as a waterway, even though the land route are obstructed by surrounding mountain. Now what happened there? Then land route are obstruct, it means कोई भी चीज रुक जाना, रोका है by the surrounding mountain area. Here the maximum area surrounded by the mountain part. So same way here also some mountain areas are also there. India has accepted all the cultural element arriving from the outsider. It means India was accepting the whole cultural. It means the people who came outside of the India, after they all are living into the India, and we all are accept that people, and this have merged into the Indian society. And the people who came from the outside of the India, this whole people as well as this people culture also merged into the Indian society. Same way, this is the strategic location of the India. Already we have to see here. Same way, just you have to see that India hold a strategic location in the eastern hemisphere. We know very well that what was the meaning of the hemisphere. Hemisphere, it means the any globe was to be divided into two parts. That is known as a hemisphere. Hemisphere, one is a southern part hemisphere and one is the eastern part of the hemisphere. So same way, where the India is hold the strategic location, India hold the strategic location into the eastern hemisphere, and it is the strategic important also, and that's why India is also the strategic important. India is in the eastern hemisphere. Now dear children, where the India is in the eastern hemisphere. Now ocean have contributed immensely in developing the mutual relation in the ancient time. And now what happened then? Due to the India's location into the eastern hemisphere, we get the benefit from the ocean, and that's why we can contribute our immensely it means atyant, important, turant, is develop the mutual relationship with the Asian time through the wheat transportation, through the sea transportation. India has a trade relation with the East Africa, West Asia, South Asia and Southeast Asia since the Asian time, and that's why we can say that from the Asian time we have the relationship with the other continents also. And same way, you take the example with the East Africa, West Africa, South Asia, Southeast Asia. From Asian time we have done the transportation with with sea route. India had developed the culture and trade relation with them, and that's why India has developed culture and trade relation with them. Due to her location, no country in the Indian Ocean has a long maritime boundary as the India has. Dear children, this is the most important thing. What they have to say, that no country in the Indian Ocean, it means no any other country in the Indian Ocean has the long maritime. It means India have a huge benefit of their long maritime boundary as India has. And due to this strategic location, the ocean is named as the Indian Ocean, and that's why we can say that due to this kind of the strategic location of India, that's why here they have to given a name as a Indian Ocean, and we take this benefit for the transportation of this part. Now that's why we can say that they have given this strategic location benefit, give the name ocean is a Indian Ocean. Now location of India across the international waterways is also important. If you have to see the location of India across the international waterways is also important. With the opening of Suez Canal in 1869, dear children, this is the most important thing. While opening of the Suez Canal in 1869, the distance between India and Europe has reduced by about 7,000 kilometers. Dear children, what happened there? While opening of which canal? Suez Canal in 1869. Now the distance between India to Europe is reduced by how much kilometer? Near about the 7,000 kilometer. Just you to see this canal, where it is located in this map. Here India is there, here this part is a European, here this Suez Canal is located. It means by Suez Canal of the opening, now India versus Europe trade distance was reduced near about how much? Reduced about the 7,000 kilometer. Sea route connecting East and Southeast Asia and Australia to the Africa, and Europe passes through the Indian Ocean, and that's why what happened then? Europe was passes through the Indian Ocean. The Circum-African waterways and Suez Canal waterways passes by the India, and that's why we can say that the Circum-African waterways and Suez Canal of the waterways are passes by the India. Canada and USA can be reached through the same waterways. It means Canada and USA also reach through the same waterways via Strait of Malacca and the Pacific Ocean. With the Malacca and Pacific Ocean, this get the benefit from the USA and Canada. India has the contact with many countries since the many centuries. It means the India has a contact with many countries since the century. Goods and idea are being exchanged since from the ancient times. Dear children, you know very well that goods and idea it means our culture are being exchanged since from the ancient times, and you know very well that the huge demand of Indian commodity, cotton clothes, silk, muslin, huge demand into the European market in the ancient times. Similarly, concept of Upanishad, stories of Ramayana, Panchatantra, therapeutic, you know very well that rog nivarana, it means the medical facility of India. All these things are to be famous in all over the world. Indian numerical figure and decimal system, etc., these all are the famous into the world level, could reach the many part of the world, and these all things are to be reached from the many part of the world, which you have to see concept of Upanishad, story of Ramayana, Panchatantra, after therapeutic, it means our medical method, Indian numerical figure, decimal system, these all things are to be discovered by our Rishi Munis in the ancient times and could reach the many parts of the world. India has the important location in South Asia, and we know very well that, dear children, India has the important location in the South Asia. There are 28 states, 1 national capital, and 7 union territories in India, dear children. Now what happened there? They have to given the information that now there are the India, yes, 28 states, 1 national capital, and 7 union territories in India. If you have to see that in 26 January 2020, dear children, 26 January 2020, what happened there? Daman and Diu merge with Dadra Nagar Haveli in Union Territory. Remain there. Daman and Diu merge with the Dadra Nagar Haveli in the Union Territory. Also, second most important decision, that Jammu and Kashmir is bifurcated. Jammu and Kashmir was bifurcated into Jammu and Kashmir, and Ladakh as a union territory, and that's why presently we can say that now India has a 28 state and 8 union territories are there. What, dear children? That's why we can say that the India has a 28 state and 8 union territories are there. If you have to see in the net as a old information, then you find that the India has a 29 state and 6 union territory. This is the old information, but now presently India has a 28 state, 8 union territories is there, and union territories was controlled by the central government. Now, dear children, they have to given the information about the neighboring countries of the India. India has a common land boundary with the Pakistan and Afghanistan in the northwest direction. Now, dear children, you have to see, this is the map of the India. Here Pakistan is there, Afghanistan is there. It means in the northwest direction we have a boundary with the Pakistan and Afghanistan in northwest direction. With China, this is the China location. Nepal and Bhutan, here Nepal is there, here Bhutan is there, dear children. In northeast, which direction? Northeast direction, China, Nepal, Bhutan. East with Myanmar, here the Myanmar is there, Bangladesh is there. In the which direction? In the east direction is there. So this all are the our neighboring country. Here Pakistan is there, Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, China, Bangladesh, Myanmar. Here Sri Lanka is there. Now here the Bay of Bengal, Indian Ocean, Arabian Sea. So these all are the India and adjacent countries are there. In the south direction, if you have to see the southern direction, Sri Lanka and Maldives are our maritime neighbors. If you have to see the southern part of the India, then what happened there? Here Sri Lanka is there, here the Maldives are there. This is the our maritime, it means Darya Kinaro, Darya Kato. This is in our neighbor India and Sri Lanka. India and Sri Lanka are separated by Palk Strait and the Gulf of Mannar. Now, dear children, here what happened? India and Sri Lanka are separated by Palk Strait and the Gulf of Mannar. It means they have to say that from this location of the area, which location, from this location of the area, what happened that the Palk Strait and the Gulf of the Mannar are separated the India and Sri Lanka, and that's why we can say that here the Gulf of Mannar is there, here the Palk Strait is there. That's why here the India and Sri Lanka are separated from that area. And Lakshadweep Island are located in the Arabian Sea. And Lakshadweep, what they have to say there? The Lakshadweep Island are located into the Arabian Sea. If you have to see the Arabian Sea, then you know very well that here in the Arabian Sea, here the Lakshadweep is there. Here, if you have to see in the Bay of Bengal side, then Andaman and Nicobar is there. So same way here, the Andaman and Nicobar Island are located in the Bay of Bengal.